Yo, so we're going to read another Facebook film job post and see what happened. I also changed up my filming position because I got bored, so I'm trying a big overhead. I was going to try straight overhead, but I didn't like it, and then, I always do right down the barrel, so this is sort of like I don't know. The only thing is, this is kind of upsetting, but honestly, it's not as, based on looking at my monitor, it's not as insane as I thought it was going to look, but it's not. Oof, that's real. Okay, so so I did some screenshots. I'm gonna read some screenshots on a Facebook post about a videography gig. So this is from an anonymous participant. Wasn't aware you could do that in this group, but I'm not here to judge that. That's just a different conversation. So, person writes, I posted the other day looking for advice. When I took over this wedding, I would send a text confirming my hours would be back in August to the wedding planner. Despite that, the night before the wedding, I was told my hours had changed to 1:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. I expressed that I could still work until 8 p.m. as talked previously about. The wedding planner stated that the exit was a big deal for the bride, but it was never made clear. Exit at 10:55 p.m. So that's why she had to be there at 11. When I arrived, the planner confronted me, saying my accommodations would be taken if I didn't stay later, and offered just $50 more, way below my rate, or far below my rate. After driving 2 hours and starting my work, I was told by the groom's mother that they were refusing my services and yelled at me. This is a bit embarrassing, but every time I tried to talk, she would cut me off and say, "No, it is your fault," even though I've been talking to the wedding planner. Although she later agreed the situation was unfair, I ultimately decided to pack up due to the treatment I received. On top of that, they canceled my accommodations, falsely telling the business I no longer needed them. I also attached my contract to avoid confusion down below. 2 hours wasted, I only got $137. Any advice? Any words of encouragement for the future? I am new to the wedding industry and have been filming for a while now. I'm unsure if this is the industry for me. So that's the first. That's the current post. But this person. So this is the post the person made after the wedding happened, and they got sent home basically. Here's the post the person did before the wedding to the same videography group. I didn't screenshot the comments, but they're adding context, so I feel like I should too. So here's the pre-wedding post this same person did. I'm curious, videographer here. Being paid $450 for a wedding. When I took over for a mutual, I wasn't booked for a certain amount of hours and told her to let me know her key moments and I'd be there. As the schedule came out, I ensured I'd be there for all the important events, but she wants me there even longer. She's expecting me to film 9 hours of coverage for a $450 budget. Is this normal? She even wanted me there before the time too, so it would have ended up being 10 hours. Yes, I have accommodations as well. My contract states what I've been saying, and I'm not sure if I should just stay there. I make that amount in only a couple of hours usually, so I'm unsure what to do. And so we do have a copy of the contract. Client will provide means of travel or be responsible for reasonable travel expenses incurred. Client will look at. Client will be responsible for any other expenses incurred by the photographer as necessary. Well, they're calling this a photographer, which is kind of scary. Meals. There's a meals thing, which is pretty normal. Client acknowledges and agrees. No refund. Okay, no refund. Client acknowledges and agrees cancellation by the client will not result in a refund or any fee pays on or prior to the date of cancellation by client. Replacement in the event the photographer is unable to perform services. Photographer. She should have changed this because she called herself photographer, which is not the job. But she was in a hurry, so I kind of get it. Even though consent is not obtained, photographer shall terminate this agreement and shall return the deposit. Okay, so the only one that I don't understand is 6.5 replacement, which is after no refund. Replacement. In the event the photographer is unable to perform the services, photographer subject to client's consent, which is not to be reasonably withheld, shall cause a replacement photographer to perform the services in accordance with the terms of the agreement. In the event that such consent is not obtained, the photographer shall terminate this agreement and return the deposit and all the fees by the client. Thereafter shall have no further liability. Okay, so this just basically means if she can't show up on the day, she'll find a replacement as long as the client is okay with that, which is kind of what happened to her. So let's go back. So she had a mutual basically dump a show onto her where the whole budget is $450 and it's a 10-hour day, and it's got a few other weird stipulations, and it's like 2 hours out of town. And I guess there was a known agreement that there was going to be a hotel room to stay the night. But then when she got there, and she had done everything through the wedding planner and everything in advance. So she said August, it's September now, so this a month out, which is legit. That's pretty good. Through the wedding planner, so there should have been no contract hiccups or anything. It looks like they agreed to the contract she sent, which says photographer all over it, which is kind of scary to me because she's a videographer, but that's the contract she sent over. No big deal. And then when she got there, the night before, the wedding planner, it sounds like, tells her that the hours changed to 11 p.m. even though she was agreed to work until 8 p.m. But it doesn't sound like that was written in the contract. That was just an email or a conversation. And then basically when she got there and started working, the wedding planner said she'd pay her $500 instead of $450, but she'd have to stay until 11 o'clock. And the whoever was paying for the hotel room was going to take away the hotel room if she didn't stay till 11. And then she started working, and the bride's mother, the mother of the bride, let's see here, the groom's mother said they were refusing services and yelled at her. So okay, like, you can refuse service. That's a thing. It's her contract should have had some more stuff going on for that, but you refuse service and then yell at her is kind of crazy. And then so the videographer decides to pack up after getting yelled at and not work, and then found out that the hotel accommodation had been canceled, which I don't know how this videographer feels about. It sounds like if she didn't do the work, she wasn't going to get the hotel accommodation. That actually makes sense to me. It'd be a tough drive back, but yeah. And somehow ended up with $137 out of $500. Yikes. Okay, let me. I skimmed, but I didn't read the comments. But I'm just gonna cold think about it for a second. First thing is contract. The contract that that her friend had that she inherited. They should have either stuck with that contract and she should have inherited that contract, or they should have drawn a new contract and saying that she's a replacement for her friend, but they have a new contract now, which is what I would do, because I'm really specific about my contracts, but I don't do wedding videography because it scares the bejesus out of me, because this kind of stuff happens because emotions. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and I know this is going to get discussed below, because how could it not, but deposit. I do post-production, so it's a little bit different, but it's kind of not. There's going to be a deposit of a percent of the negotiated rate. Usually for me it's like half, especially if it's something like this where it's really intense. Half. I don't take my gear out until I get paid my deposit, if at the latest when I arrive. And if I don't get paid the deposit, it usually says in my contract that we're not doing this, and that's it. No harm, no foul. I usually have stuff in my contract about you lose the deposit, or the deposit will be given back proportionately at my discretion based on stuff. there's usually a stuff clause in there, like percentage of work done or that kind of thing. But typically, the wording in my contract say, I'm taking a 50% deposit for showing up, and it's non-refundable. So expect to eat it no matter what, if you're a client, because that's insurance on me, because I don't want to end up in this situation where I drive 2 hours with all my gear on a friend's favor of a thing I was way underbid for anyway, and then I get nothing, and I gotta drive back like $147. That could be $137. That could be gas. Honestly, that could be gas and a meal. Yeah, the fact that it's $450 is crazy, and her friend or her mutual or whatever that agreed to this, I would have either said, hey, I need to talk to the client and renegotiate this because this is insane. This is an inappropriately low number for my work. Or if they're not up for upping the rate, they need to find somebody who's willing to be paid $450 for thousands of dollars worth of work. So, yeah. Or if I was starving, maybe I would do it, and I would just know that it's going to be a hell gig, and I just try to tough it out. But yeah, if nothing else, the $450 thing seems like just the reddest of all red flags. So, bad situation though. I'm always really scared, because you throw work to everybody. Like if I book something and then I get a scheduling conflict or something, I make sure to the best of my ability that the thing that I'm conflicted, somebody in my phone gets that job, whether or not they negotiate their own contract or I have to sort of like lease them out or whatever. I signed a contract. I made an agreement to do this work. I'm no longer available. I do think it's on me to find a replacement, and also it's just the right thing to do. And so I make a point to find somebody in my phone, because if they're in my phone, I know them. I don't want to just go on Craigslist and go, I need somebody to do videography work that I double book myself over, and it pays this much, and show up, because it's on me. So yeah, but and the other thing too, it's mutual. I have people who I'm in their phone, and if they're double booked or whatever, they'll send work my way, and I feel like half the time this year it's been I absorb their contract and I do the work, and the other half the time I give them my own contract and I do the work. But either way, I know crystal clear what the contract is, and it's discussed, and it's usually in some sort of paper form, like an email, worst case scenario a text, but really specific rules. So specifically for this kind of shit, not to happen. But yeah, I don't know, $450 for a red flag gig. But she is saying that she doesn't do weddings typically, which is another terrifying thing to think about, because shooting a wedding is not like shooting corporate stuff. It's not like shooting a trade show. It's not like shooting a concert or anything like that. You can miss a bunch of stuff in other contexts, and it's not necessarily going to ruin you. You can't miss stuff at weddings, and weddings are pretty unpredictable, even though they have a schedule, because, yeah. And the other thing is, the client is participating in the wedding, and so they're going to have a memory if you miss stuff. That's the scary thing about what I think about. But also just drunk people. Drunk people knocking over cameras and lights is a thing. It's not for me. So there's a million reasons why I don't do weddings. I've done photography badly for weddings before and humiliated myself. Once that I can think of. I'm sure there was probably another one. I don't do it. I stay away from weddings. The kind of client that needs a wedding videographer is not the kind of client that is a corporate person or a company or a marketing company or an agency or an advertiser. They understand how filmmaking works to some extent in the context of what they do. Wedding people don't. And it's basically impossible to explain it to them, both because they don't care and also because they have a million other things going on, you're not going to get through to them. So that's why contracts. Anyway, let's see what was said. I think this is a screenshot of a text from her mutual when she inherited the job. It says she doesn't have a time frame worked out yet, but she's mainly concerned about bigger things such as first dance, vows, walking down the aisle, etc. This stuff would be in the contract. In the same way, color grading, I have specific things that are in the color grade list or in edit or whatever, or even videography gigs. I need to be here at this time. I need to get this footage. I need to do this. I need to make sure I have an audio off the mixer, that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. That stuff goes into my contract, and somewhere in my contract it says if updates are needed, it needs to be via email, and it needs to be this many minutes out, and I need to respond to the email for it to be part of the contract. Like, I have really specific rules that are kind of anal, but that's because a text which is like, oh, you got to get the first dance, you got to get the vows, you got to get the aisle. Like, if you're not a working wedding videographer, you're not going to think about all the other stuff, like the getting ready shit, the boys doing boy crap out on the lawn, the little kids, the animals, getting all the B-roll of the frickin' location before the sun goes down. Like, and this is from somebody who doesn't do weddings, and I can think of that stuff just off the top of my head. So yeah, yikes. Alright, comments. First comment: honestly, as unfortunate this situation is to see, you will have to chalk that up as learning experience in the business. This sounds like a completely unreasonable situation presented to you. Although we may have contracts in place, sometimes it costs more than the legal headache it is worth to pursue. Yeah, I guess she's gonna have to just take the black eye and the, 25% pay, and she knows nobody at that wedding is gonna recommend her. And if she's not doing weddings, it kind of doesn't matter. And honestly, it is a situation where her bad reputation at this wedding will affect the person that recommended her, but also the person that recommended her dropped. Why did this person drop? Was it scheduling, or did this person get a bad vibe and try to dump this on somebody? It's happened. It's happened to me. I get there and I go, oh God. And then I text the guy and I'm like, why'd you send me here? And usually they if they're in my phone, they'll go, yeah, man, I got forced to do it. I'm so sorry. It's a bad situation. I owe you one. Usually they know. So I don't think that's what the situation is. This just seems like it spiraled out of control, and it's a non-wedding videographer with like a videographer that's inexperienced enough that $450 for a day rate is appropriate, kind of thing. To be clear, my like corporate trade show rate for just operating a camera, so not bringing the camera, not recording the footage, nothing else, my corporate trade show rate is $500 for a 10-hour day, and that's really low. Like, I get hired because I'm borderline scabbing at that rate, but also I don't bring equipment at that rate. So $450 to be a full production company, wedding videography company, is just super crazy. Next person says, welcome to the world of wedding video photo work. Most are not as stressful as this one, but when they are, it is in very emotion-packed events with individuals under lots of emotional expectations and stress. Yeah, it's weddings. Yeah, you know what's the opposite of weddings, but it's the same gear, or it's less gear even. Courtroom and deposition recording, that kind of stuff, where you bring a camera, you bring a light, you bring a microphone, and you just lock the camera down and you just hit play, and people read depositions, and there's no expectation of anything. If they're in focus, it's nice. I've had like one of these cherry gigs ever, and they're the best. They don't usually pay great, and the hours are crazy long sometimes, because sometimes the depositions take forever, but it's like the lawyers and the people at the place are very clear that your job is to make sure that this person gets recorded and that footage goes to them so that they can use it for the court case. it's incredible. There's no stress. You're in an air-conditioned room. If the sound sucks, who cares? As long as you can hear them, it's wild. So weddings are scary. Next person says, and he's a person I see all the time, you need 3 times. So 900, so 1350. Yeah, I agree. 1350 for this low quality of a wedding. That sounds right. I'd say more like 4 or 5, but maybe 1350 will get me to drive. Another person says, some people have good first experiences and some people have bad ones. Luck of the draw, unfortunately. Keep it up. Charge more and you'll find the right clients. That's a really good piece of advice. And it sort of harkens back to when you work with corporate people and they're used to working with video, they sort of get it. Again, if you're charging $450 for a wedding, which she inherited, so she didn't even negotiate it, which is kind of bad on its own. But even this person, I don't know if I would trust this mutual person after that gave her this, even if they had all the right intentions, because like $450 is a nightmare rate, and this happens everywhere, but it's happening to me with live shows. It's happened to me on short films, and it's happened to me for other weird projects that are video related, where under a certain the price seems way too, the threshold of price seems way too high for what it is. But I'm a fake number, $3,000. Any project that I do in sort of a certain way that's under $3,000, it's always nightmare clients, because it's people that are not used to working with video production, and they don't know what things cost. They don't know how much time takes everything, how much time it takes to light, the fact that you can't wear a white shirt if you're doing an interview because you look like a ghost, that kind of, or a patterned shirt because you didn't wear it, all that kind of stuff below the arbitrary 3,000 number that I made up. It's a nightmare. Above that, they're grateful, they're ready, they usually have some sort of director style person there working with you to sort of just run it for you so you can just do videography because that's your job. They tip well sometimes, it's crazy. They'll take you out to lunch. It's crazy, and it's the difference between the people who know what all this stuff costs and are either okay with it or are really getting a deal because they usually pay way more. And it's the people under here who have no idea what things cost and think it's inappropriate that you're getting paid anything. And so you want to be up here. And I've had the weirdest arguments negotiating contracts with these people down here. And almost always, after 1 or 2 emails or 1 or 2 phone calls where we're not seeing eye to eye, I usually recommend them to go find somebody else. And most of the time, I don't put anybody in my phone in that list. I just go, good luck. You can try the company down the street, because I don't want this to get back to me. I don't want people in my phone to have to deal with these kind of people either. So yeah, but there's a lot more of these people than there are these people, but man, these people make it worth it. And these people, you just gotta find a way to filter out. So part of it's experience, part of it's the network, part of it's just chugging along, and part of it is the luck of the draw, because I still end up with working with these people every so often, and I do my best to make sure I don't, but it still happens, and it's always a nightmare, and everybody always goes away unhappy with each other, disappointed, and a lot of times unhappy with the person whose services they're paying for. So yeah. Last big comment, and this guy comments on everything. This guy is a working local. This is too awful. I hope you can solve the whole situation, but take it as a learning experience for the next projects. Sadly, in this place where I live, there are a type of client that used to offer very low rates. I'm talking about those gigs where they offer just $50, $100 per hour in the year 2025. And at the same time, they demand, I just lost my audio. Oh, my recorder died and my knee popped. All right, we're back. So yeah, the gigs where they offer just $50 or $100 per hour in the year 2025, and at the same time They demand highly professional results. For me at this point, that is a huge red flag, especially when I see posts on Facebook groups when I receive jobs requests. Also, when setting your rates, I suggest you add the cam op fee plus the editing fee, as well as the expenses involved: studio rental, transportation, hotel, gear rental fees, additional crew members if applies, in the estimate, so the clients may be sure that there are no hidden or extra costs and stuff like that. Besides, I also suggest you do not be afraid to charging the first 50% before the shoot and the next 50% at the end of the event in those projects where you're not required to edit. So he's saying 50% deposit before the shoot, and then if it's just handover footage at the end of the night, that's when you collect the other check. And then 8 a.m. go to their bank and cash it. Seriously, you should. Yeah. Or if they're Venmoing you, you're probably fine. In those projects where I also have to edit a video recap, I charge an initial 34% at the end of the shoot, where the next 33% when I'm delivering. So he's saying cut it up into thirds when he has to edit. You must also consider that we are in the USA, so you can set your own rules in your business, and that's a contract thing. So yeah. So hell gig. Honestly, other than the sort of embarrassment at the wedding, and having to drive 4 hours total and having to take out gear, that's a lot of things now that I said it out loud. It sounds like this person got off easy, because I don't know if the $450 includes doing an edit, but if it did, that's so much worse. But just in the leading up to and then arriving, these clients are already a nightmare, and it's already sort of bad blood between you guys. It's probably not like I can't think of examples where it's gotten better. Even if they come over and apologize, or if you apologize, whatever, at some point, by hour 10, the blood is bad again. There's poison in the water again. So it's, yeah, like, I think I say this on every one of these that I do, but if you get a bad vibe at the beginning, don't expect it to get better, because it's the exception of the rule that it does get better, and those are the ones you remember because they're so it just doesn't happen. It's not a thing. Yeah. So takeaways. I would really consider this person, this poster, who this mutual person that threw her a $450 wedding gig, who they are in that person's life. Because if this is a friend, it's probably not a friendship ender, but man, that's rough. But more importantly, if this is a person that would be like, maybe you're second shooter on their stuff, they're second shooter on your stuff, and you're having this working relationship, this needs to get discussed at minimum. I don't know if I'd be comfortable having this person in my phone, because they set the poster up for failure. And yeah, and you can chalk some of it up to inexperience, but the other side of that is they negotiated a $450 rate for a wedding, which is just, that's so crazy. That's so too low that it's like, if I got a text from even somebody in my phone that said, "Hey, I'm doing a job, and in this reality I do weddings, which I don't. I'm doing a job. It's $450. You don't even have to deliver footage. You just have to be there. Here, I can't do it. Here you go. Here's the dates." I would first say, how open are they to renegotiating to twice or three times that rate? And if the answer is they're not, I'm out of there. Or just straight up be like, it's $450. I can't do it. Oh. Amber alert. I can't do it, because that's insane. And also, again, what are you doing? Like, why did you negotiate a $450 rate for something that's $1,000 plus $2,000? A wedding videography gig with multiple cameras, a multiple person team, and a drone, you're getting into thousands of dollars before the edit. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so I would do that. I would be really careful about my interaction with the person that threw me that job, because got to figure out what the deal is. If you want to stay in the wedding game, none of these people at that wedding are going to give you a good reference, but they're probably not going to be so petty that they're going to seek out your company or your webpage or whatever and try to destroy it, or your Facebook page. I doubt that would be the case, but look out for that. You know, if you're getting spammed on Yelp all of a sudden, you might want to file a thing with Yelp, because you might just have the groom's mom getting petty revenge times two, you know, part two. The other thing is, yeah, you know, if this person wants to get into wedding videography, which now that they're scared white as a sheet, maybe they're not, try to get on as a second shooter, try to get on as a camera assistant for like a season, and just see how not only you're shooting it, because it sounds like this person can sort of handle themselves shooting it, but also the business side of it, the bedside manner, the interacting with the stressed out clients, interacting with like who, you know, the instinctive stuff, not only instinctive shots, but also when something goes wrong, don't go to the maid of honor, don't go to the mom of the bride, go to the wedding planner, go to the event coordinator, go to the person who's running the venue. You know, like those kind of all those sort of like intangibles that you only understand through apprenticeship. That kind of stuff is useful in something as chaotic as wedding filmmaking. I think it's effective in all kinds of filmmaking, but in the high stakes world of you only get one shot at it, that is wedding filmmaking. Yeah, I would be afraid to start without a mentor, because you can learn the gear, you can learn the workflow, you can learn your gear really well, but at the end of the day, the unpredictability and just all the moving parts that are one chance situation could really come back to haunt you. So I'm getting flashbacks now to a live stream that I operated that imploded, that was utterly not my fault, but I just didn't have the experience or position to say, hey, back off lady, you ruined this, and I tried to stop you from ruining it, which is what I now know happened. But yeah, I did a live stream of several years ago that pretty much imploded. And I'm pretty sure, since I wasn't the company that I was just hired on, I'm pretty sure the company refunded her the show, which is bad. But knowing what I know now, I would have just either fixed it, or in the case of this lady I couldn't have been able to fix it because of what she was doing, I would have just said, listen, it's broken, here's why, here's what happened, these are the choices that you made to allow this to happen, so we're both upset that it's screwed, but it is screwed, and it wouldn't have been screwed had you not forced it to be screwed, and that's what it is. So but again, that's a situation where you're not going to get that client back. And I have not interacted with that client since, and I drive by their property every so often, and I still get the chills. So, yeah, yeah, weddings are rough. Yeah, one final. I'm sorry, I'm lost in the sauce here. Don't do weddings. Don't shoot weddings for family or friends. Don't do it. Every wedding videographer or photographer will tell you this. Don't do it. If you're invited to the wedding, be a guest. If you're invited to the wedding and it's strongly implied that you're invited to the wedding, but you're going to be working it, be a guest or don't go, because their expectations are going to ruin it for you at best, and for people that want to see footage later at worst. So yeah, but I've been asked a bunch of times to photograph or video weddings, and I used to say I don't know, or let me think about it, and then chicken out, and now I just say it's not my thing. I could probably find you somebody who you could like. It's probably going to cost this much, but they're worth it, and usually they say nah, because they're looking for a favor because they're trying to save money, and that's why they asked me, a friend or a family member, and you know what, that's fine. They asked, I'm allowed to say no. They're allowed to ask, I'm allowed to say no. And I am going to eat my meal at their wedding because as a guest, that's something I'm entitled to do. So yeah. What do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. Would you have done this thing differently? This sucks for this person, but oof. So yeah. Anyway, well, it's below $600 or $500, so they won't necessarily show up on taxes anyway. Hooray! All right, see ya.